will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When Woods where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory.
Didn't put the loop on. That's on me.
Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now. Waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. When Woods where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When Woods where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now. Waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. When Woods where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. When Woods where we landed, we're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie high like we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Unplugged Unfiltered. I am Brian Clements alongside Bob Clements, and tonight we're going to talk about the ugly truth of entrepreneurship. The reality of it is the shit they don't tell you about being a founder. And I have to, this is a shout out again to Mike and Cass Lazaro and their book. It's doing incredible. Super excited to see the progress that they're making with their book. But I've been watching and Bob, I'll say I've been seeing a bunch. They've been really, really heavy on social media, and it's made me think a lot about, the shit they don't tell you about being a founder. And I think in Mike and Cass's book, right, Shoveling Shit, it is very to the point, to the truth, and that's 100% what we're about here at Unplugged Unfiltered. It's truth. It's no fluff. It's in your face kind of. Hey, we're not the LinkedIn. We're not the Instagram entrepreneurs. We're not going to sit here and say, oh, well, and we talked about this, I think, with Drew Seacrest from Connect the Dots. Is right. You don't. We're not going to tell you, hey, if you buy this, $99 a month package, you're going to become successful and build a mega yacht or have a mega yacht and do all those things. So I'm super excited about our podcast tonight. So
yeah, I mean, if you're super successful, you may end up with a rowboat, which is all you really want anyway. I think the biggest mistake that I see people make is they think, okay, you got to be super successful. That's just all BS. Yeah, you just got to be happy.
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, so again, I tell people, I'm not a money motivated person.
Yeah,
I just not in my soul. I mean, I've been in sales since 1973. Money was never my motivator. I had other things there. And I think that's the mistake that I think that people make is, all founders, all entrepreneurs, they're 100% money motivated. And really, that's just not the case at all. They have a dream, they have a passion, but there's a whole lot of crap you have to go through.
There is.
And I always laugh, when you get on LinkedIn and some of the other places, and those are all great places to be, but you never hear anybody talking about the misery, the hell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, today's a terrible day.
Yeah.
This sucks. you might as well go ahead and just not connect with me anymore. I hate life.
Yeah.
And I think that's, to me, what we're going to kind of talk about tonight.
100%.
What's the ugly side here? Because while there's moments of exhilaration, there are depths of despair you go through, and nobody shows that crap.
Yeah.
But everybody goes through it.
Oh, and that's, I mean, and again, like you said, no one shows it, right? Everyone shows the wins.
Right.
Everyone shows
Absolutely.
the successes. And
hey, take a look at my fancy office that I can't afford to pay for this month.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
But it's a really nice
It's
office.
really nice office.
It's really
all
great.
my furniture is leased, and I don't know how I'm going to make that lease payment next week. It's a stupid crap.
It is.
That people get caught up in, is the flash and the stuff like this.
Yeah.
And while it's fun, right? And that's all you see on social media. Nobody shows you the crap side of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the thing you have to watch out for, because if you're involved with that, and you should be involved with social media and stuff like this, but you have to understand it's a fantasy. It's not real.
Yes.
Right. Because nobody's showing you the real stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, and they're not. I mean, and I think that, it's glorifying, right, the success side of entrepreneurship, and there, that success is out there.
It is,
right,
and it's pretty and it's shiny.
It is. You can look at any of the big entrepreneurs, whether they're Shark Tank entrepreneurs or whether they're some of just the other very prominent entrepreneurs out there, and they have a lot of really nice stuff, but none of them started with really nice stuff. I mean, I think back and I watched a lot of stuff from Robert from Shark Tank, right? Robert, he didn't start out with anything. Gary Vaynerchuk, another perfect example of, the struggle. And now I will say with Robert talks about his past and talks a lot about what it took to get to the point that he's at. Same with Gary. Gary V is very, very open about, hey, a lot of times this sucks, but 98% of successful entrepreneurs on social media, their highlight reel is the highlights, not the low lights. And I think that's really what we're going to hit on, is the low lights that happen. I mean,
because you're going to go through them.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't care. I mean, and even if you're a successful entrepreneur, you still go through them. It's just that you've been through them. And I think Cass and Mike talked about this when we interviewed them or had them on our podcast in the very beginning. You still go through them, but you can weather them.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
and that's the thing. So it's a storm I've been through. It's maybe the worst storm I've ever had, but I've been through some bad shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this probably is not going to be my final storm,
yes.
right? This is not going to be the one that takes me out.
Yeah.
Right. And I know I'll come out wet on the other side of it
and
battered and bruised, but I'll still make it through it. And I think that's so much the mindset you have to have.
Yeah.
Is that you are going to go through those storms. And that's part of, again, I think what we want to talk about tonight is it's okay. It's a part of it. And everybody goes through them, and the storms never go away. I mean, there's never a time that the sea is always perfectly smooth.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and I'm going to say a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is, especially as I'm building my current business, I'm going to tell you perfect examples. And I will say that everything that we talk about tonight are things that I've experienced this week.
Yeah.
And it's Wednesday.
Yeah, this has been a rough sea week for you.
It has.
But that's okay. You know what? That's part of it.
Well, and it's one of those that's like, you might see, like, especially if you follow entrepreneurs, if you follow, successful businesses, they show like, oh, hey, this business raised $100 million in their first funding round. That's a load of bullshit. Not saying that it's not. I mean, you can raise $100 million, but the amount of panic attacks that CEO and founder went through before they got to that point are insane. Because, like with me starting Triton, the software company, the funding has been hard. And, I don't have a flashy office tour I could do. I mean, my office, 90% of my time is my couch in my living room.
Right.
And so, that
I wouldn't let you use my office space, but I would have to charge for
it. Yeah. And unfortunately we can't afford rent right now. So
I would make an arrangement. We could do something. You could pay me later on.
Yeah. But
in stock.
Yeah, there you go. In equity. I will let you use our office for 30% equity. oh no, I'm out. It's like, oh damn. Okay, well that was
let's negotiate that to 25.
yeah, but that's the reality of it is, it's like, I have in this last, I would say 2 weeks, right? Is we're spending money like crazy, right? We're building a product. We know it's going to be successful. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be successful. But when it comes down to it, it's like, okay, well, where are we going to get the funding for this? Where are we going to get the funding for this? You go to the bank and the bank's like, yeah, we can do something. And then next thing you know, there's like a holdup after.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you're a startup. No, we actually can't help you. Yeah, we're not interested in startups.
And so, but and then you talk to investors and you get everything kind of moving forward, and then something comes up, and it's just I have had in the last 2 weeks, I would say, there's so many highs and lows. It's like,
right.
I get a really exciting email and then I get a really shitty email and an exciting email and a shitty email. And I really feel bad for my fiance because she has she'd be like, oh, how's it going? I'm like, oh, it's going great. 10 minutes later, she's like, how's it going? I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, it sucks. I still think, why am I doing this?
Why am I doing this? And then she's like, uh-oh, what happened? Yeah. I said, well, I got this email, or I got this phone call, or I got this. And it takes a lot out of you, but and I will say that with us doing this podcast, this is how, it's
your therapy.
It is.
This is your therapy.
It's my therapy, and it's my way to be able to encourage other entrepreneurs, Absolutely. Other startups. I've been in business consulting for a long time. My network is worth way more than my net worth.
Yes.
And I'm still shoveling shit constantly.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a part of it. I mean, I always, I wouldn't want to, I always laugh. I could, if I had to, I could start over and I could build it back quickly. I don't want to do that. Okay. Because at 70 years old, I could still shovel shit. Yeah. But it's heavier than it used to be. Well, so, but again, I think, like you say, but you have the highs and lows, and it is a little bit of an adrenaline thing, I have to say. Yeah. I mean, because the highs really get you up there. Yeah. But then the low is like coming off a really good high. Yeah. And you crash to the bottom. But it's you just got to stay in the game. That's why I tell everybody I work with. It's the game is good. There's less people out there like what you're building with Triton. There's just nothing like it out there. And I think the challenge that you have with your software is everybody's looking at software they're familiar with. They don't really understand your industry. Yeah. You and I both know that there's a couple of newer software companies out there that are and we were just talking about both of them tonight, that don't do what your software does in any case. Yeah. But they've made it kind of some trend in there, but there's some old legacy software out there that everybody hates. Yeah. Everybody hates. Yeah. There's no other option for it. But as you're talking to people about software and they go, well, there's no way that many people are going to leave their software to go to you. And I'm going like, I can give you 100 dealers right now. If you call them all, they go like, my software sucks. As soon as Brian's software is ready, I'll do it in a heartbeat. And that's the problem, is that, I both know the industry, and that's all I do all day long is work with dealers and this crap they have to put up with their software. I had one out in California today, and we were talking about a stupid report that should be an easy report to get out of any software. It's a part sales by vendor report. Okay. And they go like, well, we can't do it. But the software company said they could build the report for $250. And I'm going like, oh my God, they've built it 1,000 times. And they go like, I hate this software. And I go, well, hang on. Don't worry. So, but that's a piece of it. I think, again, it's, there's an entrepreneur, when you're trying to start something, when you're a founder, many times you have a knowledge and an idea. You see this, right? And you see it. But it's the challenge is to get other people who have money. Yeah. Because it all takes money. I don't care what it is. Absolutely. But you've got to have, to have other people see it. And there will be people that will see it. Yeah. Right. But again, it's that slog. You just have to slog through it. I mean, well, you and I've talked about it before. I mean, the industry you're in is a $45 billion software industry. Yeah. $45 billion a year is spent on this software with about 18,000 dealers. Yeah. And to your point, if we just got 1%. And I talk about, so I think that's the thing also, as you're, young entrepreneurs, founders, as they're looking at this stuff, understand that, part of the challenge you have is is getting people to see your dream.
Yeah.
And as you're doing that, people are going to smash your dream against the wall
Yes.
1,000 times because they're going like, oh, that'll never work. That'll
Yeah,
never
yeah.
work. Says somebody to Steve Jobs one day, you can never make a phone that small.
Yeah.
You can never put that many records on a device,
Yes.
And, so everybody that goes through it, they went through the same battles.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs is a great one to look at. And
Oh,
I mean, hell,
absolutely.
his company fired him.
Yeah.
Then his company went to hell and they had to hire him back.
Yeah.
And from that came the iPod, the iPhone,
Mhm.
So again, I would just tell everybody that's on here that, the biggest challenge is you have to understand, and this goes back to Cass and Mike's book. You shoveled a ton of shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And you're really never not shoveling.
Yeah.
You just get used to the smell.
Yeah.
And the shoveling.
Well, and I would say that you get better equipment, right?
Yeah,
and,
that's true. Yeah.
And we talk about this all the time is if you know an entrepreneur, if you know a successful entrepreneur, and you reach out to them, you've now gone from a little garden shovel that's about that big.
Absolutely.
To now you actually have a full-size
excavator.
shovel.
You got an excavator.
Well, I think once you've succeeded, then you can afford the excavator, right?
I hire people to shovel my shit.
100%. Now you have a whole road crew that is shoveling shit.
Absolutely.
But it takes time to get there, and you have to be okay with just getting into it and saying, you know what? And DeVita last week was
what a
very
great
it was such a fun podcast. And I mean, and she made a great point is, you've just got to keep doing it and don't look at your failures as failures.
Exactly.
Don't internalize that. Don't say, oh, well, I failed. I'm a failure. No, you learned a lesson, right? It's okay. That sucked. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
You become a failure when you do the exact same thing over and over and over, expecting something different.
And you will burn out from that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But again, it's kind of like with DeVita, it's that failing forward.
Yes.
So everybody fails. I mean, it's, we talked about this before, in baseball, if you have a guy that has a 400 batting average, that means he strikes out 6 times out of every 10 times he's at bat.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So 6 times he failed.
Yeah.
And only 4 times did he get on base.
Yeah.
But a 400 batting average, I think there's only been one person in all the history of baseball that had a 400 average for the whole year.
Yeah.
And that means that 60% of the time when they get up to bat, they're going to strike out.
Yeah.
Okay. Or somehow they're going to get it out. But a 400 batting average, this guy makes, if he were in baseball, he would make $10 million a year.
Yeah.
Playing baseball, and he would be number 4 in the batting lineup because we got 3 shots to get somebody on base. And when he gets up, 4 times out of 6, he's going to drive a run in.
Well, and I think honestly, when you look at the batting average, especially like that, I think there's really only one other industry where you can have a lower percentage success rate and still keep your job. And I would say that was probably meteorologist.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I laughed. I said, honestly, had I going back to like high school, I'm like, I should have been a meteorologist. Yeah. You could be right or wrong 90% of the time, but like, well, there's a chance for rain.
Exactly, a chance. So, and keep us tuned in, and we'll give you an update on that chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
As it starts to get wet outside, looks like now we have 100% chance of rain. So.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I think that's a piece of it, And again, I know you're going through it, and this has been an interesting week for you as you've gone through kind of the highs and the lows of it. But again, that's a part of the struggle, and that to me is kind of the fun part of doing this podcast with you is. We talk about it, but it's an opportunity for me to also encourage you and say, hey, look, everybody goes through this stuff and here's some other strategies we should take a look at. It's kind of the old thing again with Cass and Mike, pivot.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I know this has been a thought, but pivot here, your idea is a solid idea. It's a solid idea. I know it's a solid idea, and you're close to having it ready to beta.
Yeah.
So it's there, but again, it's still, you gotta share with people who are not in the world that you and I play in.
Absolutely.
That, hey, look, this is a game changer using AI.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to want it. I mean, anybody that has played around at all with something as I don't want to say simple as chat, because chat's not simple.
Yes.
But everybody today's playing with it. And it's the future. And that's kind of the cool thing about whether it's your software or somebody else that's doing software that's really incorporating AI in it, it's going to be a big deal. So.
Well, and again, and like you said, I think one of our biggest struggles, one of the things that we have to promote, and I think and you've said this many a times before. I'm not sure.
I'd love to hear it again, though.
Yeah. I'm not sure
like
if you've
it.
actually ever said it on the podcast. But there's no such thing as a new idea, right? Because you're pretty much, I mean, there are new ideas out there. I don't know how they come up with them that are not substance induced. But there are some, but the reality of it is you're taking something that's already been created and making it better. But there's so many naysayers out there and say, okay, why would someone want a typewriter? We have a pencil and a paper. No one's going to use a typewriter.
Right.
Like I can just write it out. Okay. And then they're like, oh, well, typewriters. Now typewriters are that's how you write a letter. And then someone comes and says, hey, well, I know typewriters are great, but look at this computer. Well, everyone has a typewriter. Why would they switch to a computer?
Right.
Well, because it's an advancement in technology, just because we're so stuck in that kind of, hey, it works. Why would anyone change? Well, it works because that's our option, and we have to.
Yeah. It's like we talked about going from a flip phone to a smartphone.
Yeah.
Very few people will ever go back to a flip phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Except for Rob.
Well, Rob will, right? And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying again, I think that's the piece of it. But I think as we talked about it before, I think one of the things that you have to keep in mind as you're around business people, there's not a lot of real conversation that happens because everybody's pretending, like everything is always good, and they're freaking lying to you.
Well, 100%.
And I think that's the thing that you have to be a little bit cautious of. It's like, well, guys, I talked to Bob the other day, and his business is exploding and stuff like this, and he's got no issues and everything's going great.
Yeah.
And he's always at the damn lake, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bob must have everything going. And it's like, well, that's just not true at all. Right? I'm at the lake, but I'm still working.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like everybody else, now I'm blessed. I've got this incredible team anymore, but I didn't always have an incredible team.
Yeah.
So if you're in business, you always have people issues. Periodically, somebody stabs you in the back.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're kind of going like, damn, I love my wife and I love watch Survivor.
Yes.
And I tell people business is a lot like Survivor. Everybody's lying to everybody else, and you're just all trying to get to the end to get the $1 million. Right?
100. Absolutely.
Okay. And you don't want to piss everybody off so bad because they're on the jury and they're going to vote for you at some point. Right. But you got to have a good story. You got to have a good resume, but just understand that 90% of the time, there's somebody in or around you that has a knife. Brutus, right? The old Ides of March there. Caesar got plowed in the back with a knife.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the other piece about it. You have to keep that in mind that, that's the game.
Yeah.
There's not all things are out in the open and fair.
Yeah. Well, and that's the reality. I mean, and I've seen it in my company already. And we saw it within the first month of our company being in actual existence is, betrayal in business isn't rare. It's expected.
Right.
And the sooner that you actually realize that as an entrepreneur, the more resilient you can become.
Exactly.
You have to take the steps to protect yourself, but understand that, greed gets to a lot of people, or
absolutely
just I know information you don't know. And especially in a software and technology world, like I have NDAs, but NDAs are still just a piece of paper. Someone can say whatever they want to say. And in technology, saying the wrong thing can screw my business.
Yeah, which is one of the things that I found interesting. So in my business, we have to sign NDAs all the time with manufacturers. And we don't break them.
Yes.
Okay. Because the manufacturers that we deal with have 100 times more lawyers than I ever have. And they would take and cut my throat and be done with it. And so, but when you did yours and you had some people sign NDAs because you didn't really want anybody in the industry to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And a couple of them broke them right away. I mean, literally, they couldn't have just signed it. And then, and then they broke it. And I'm going like, okay, but that's, and it was shocking to me because we take our NDAs very seriously. We're working with manufacturers who are sharing information with us and we work with a lot of the same manufacturers in the same industry. That's kind of what we do, so, but we don't share anything with anybody, right?
Well,
because they're giving us information that is strategic to what they're trying to do. And they're hiring us to help them and consult with their dealers. And so that was one of the things that fascinated me about what you were doing, because that would never happen in my company. even in meetings, we don't share information except with a small group of us that's attached to an NDA, because I don't want somebody just to randomly be on a meeting with somebody else and to say something that would break that NDA.
Yeah.
So that was the other, your NDAs were betrayed much faster than I thought they would.
Yeah. That was
like, holy crap, he couldn't have just signed it like yesterday.
That was almost like DC politic betrayal.
Holy
It's like,
smokes.
Okay, I'm signing this. You guys have to see this.
You guys got to see this.
You got to see this. This is crazy.
Yeah, this
is your competition that's coming in. Here's all the information.
You want to read the information with me here? It's like, holy crap. Yeah. I've never seen it. Well, again, like I say, we take NDAs very seriously in my organization.
Well,
and apparently the people that you had don't.
Yeah. Well,
maybe they didn't know what it stood for.
Yeah.
Non-disclosure.
Yeah. Non-disclosure.
Non-disclosure agreement. That means that we don't get to talk about to anybody.
Yeah.
Of this. So anyway, that's kind of one of those betrayal things. So that was kind of shocking, because the person that did it, I mean, you really felt like you were pretty close friends with them.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, you've done a ton of work with them, right?
Absolutely.
And helped them turn their business around. And I mean, this was a dealership that you helped turn their whole dealership around. You became very good friends with them. They sold it for a ton of money.
Yeah.
Okay. And you thinking that, okay, well, I can trust this guy.
Yeah.
And apparently he couldn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that really comes out. I mean,
he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to take anything away. His perception of an NDA is just very different than my perception.
Absolutely. And, I don't know what there was to gain about that from it, but it takes us into that, the hardest part of building any company is people. I mean, and whether it's employees, whether it's customers, whether it's people who sign NDAs who don't actually want to, it's one of those, okay, I know that you signed it, but you probably should have read it before you signed
maybe it was like near death apparition or something.
Yeah. Some type of advertising that
something about,
now Disney advertising.
There you go.
I don't know what the hell it was, but I mean, people are, it is tough in business, especially when you're scaling a business. I mean, we're trying to scale a business to a very large scale in a very short period of time, just because the demand is there. I mean, we see the demand. We go from no sales to 3,000 sales in a matter of 6 months. You have to have people there, but that's also the hardest part, I would say, of any company. Once you get the idea, once you kind of get the foundation laid, building those people around you, it's hard.
It is. And I talk to our dealers all the time. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a meeting this next week on this for our dealers. But it's about building the culture.
Yeah.
And you have to, first of all, you have to understand, okay, what is the culture that I want to build? Because I tell people, you can have somebody that you're interviewing that meets the salary requirements. So what you're willing to pay is what they're willing to take.
Yeah.
They've got all kinds of skills.
Yeah.
Okay. And I said, those are two great things, but the most important thing is, do they fit my culture?
Yeah.
I said, so you're starting off wrong. You're saying, well, they've got the qualifications and they'll accept my salary. And I said, those are actually the last two parts you're looking at. The first thing you have to do is this somebody that would fit in my culture?
Yeah.
Right. And I say, can they become a part of our tribe?
Yeah.
Okay, because this is how our tribe hunts.
Yeah.
This is how our tribe fishes.
Yeah.
This is how we do things, right? And so can you become a part of our tribe? And then if you say like, yeah, they would fit our culture, they would fit into our tribe.
Yeah.
Then we say, and the money that we want to pay, they will take, and they got the skill sets to do it. Because I always tell people, are they willing to take the money? Because if they're not, then the skill sets doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm a big believer, I can teach anybody to do anything.
Yeah.
If you're an open-minded, average, intelligent human being, I can teach you how to fly the space shuttle. Once you figure it out, it's a glider.
Yeah.
Heavy glider.
Very heavy glider that goes very high in the sky.
They do. But I go back again, but it's still a skill you can teach anybody.
Absolutely.
I'm a pilot. Anybody can learn how to fly a plane. Planes want to fly.
Yeah.
The thing they don't want to do is land. Okay. So you have to theoretically crash it to get it back on the ground. But anyway, I think that's the piece of it that a lot of people, when they're looking at even you're right now, I mean, we talked tonight, are you just brought a new person on your team that's a marketing person, and you were sharing me with some of her ideas, and they sound brilliant to me. I mean, I think that she's going to be a great fit for you. But again, she also then fits the team. She's got a little bit of her dad is an entrepreneur.
100%.
Okay. So her her culture, she comes from an entrepreneurial family.
Yeah.
And so you know that she already has a fit because she gets it. She understands it. She's been around those things like that. Money fits, knowledge fits. But again, I think that the most important thing when you're looking at bringing, especially when you're a young company and you're looking to bring on, I mean, when you're by yourself or there's two of you and you're adding a person, that's a third of your total workforce. And you just got to make sure all those things fit.
Well, and it takes me back, and I had this conversation with the person that we just onboarded today.
We call them hiring in my age. You understand it? So people say onboard, and it's like, what is snowboarding, skating? But I understand.
Yes.
Onboard, but it's like we hired a person today.
We hired, so we actually hired this person like, I don't know, a week and a half ago. We've been going through, it's been about a month-long process because we want to make sure that it fits, especially because there's family involved to some extent. So we wanted to make sure that everything fit. So we actually hired them last week. We onboarded them and say, hey, truly welcome to the team, meet the whole team. But that was kind of the thing. But one of the things that we talked about was, when I was having a conversation with her, I said, with our business, one of the things that you're going to have to understand, and this comes from Cass and Mike, right? It's not whether or not the shit hits the fan. Yeah. It's when the shit is going to hit the fan, how much shit is going to hit the fan. And then I asked, how willing are you to pick up a scrub brush? Because we're all going to have to pick up the scrub brush. I mean, and that's where it comes down to. And I will say my whole team that I have right now, when the shit has hit the fan, they go, okay, where's my scrub brush? Where do you want me to start?
Yep.
And they don't ask questions.
Right.
I hate that it's become a very common conversation that we've had,
but it's part of starting a new business.
But and it is, and we're building so many integrations. We're working with so many massive companies that it's one of those, we think that we've got everything done right, and then we come to them and we go, okay, well, they need something else, and they need it in 45 minutes. It's like, okay, guys, the shit just hit the fan. We have to clean this up in 45 minutes. I need a team meeting, and we all sit down, and in 45 minutes we have it figured out and the email sent back. I mean, we've been working with a big investor. Same thing. It's like my team, when the shit hit the fan, I said, guys, gals, it is T-minus
game on
10 minutes. We have a miscalculation in the trajectory of the space shuttle. We can't stop the countdown.
Okay. We're going to miss the moon.
We're going to miss the moon.
So what's on the other side of the moon that we can maybe land on? Yeah. But
that's been something that's been massive for us is taking how they respond to that. Hey, shit's going to hit the fan.
Right.
It's not a question of if, it's when, how much is going to hit. Are you okay with picking up a scrub brush? And if they say that really kind of is our intro into that. Hey, you're now part of the tribe, right? And
well, when we had Cass and Mike on, and I forget because Cass and Mike's done several companies, but I think maybe it was golf.com and that they sold it to like a Russian oligarch.
Yeah.
And unfortunately it fell apart.
Yes.
And they had to end up getting it back.
Yeah.
Okay. And they didn't have the funds to pay anybody.
Yep.
Okay. But they had the people that were still on the team when they sold it. They had the right people, the right culture.
Yeah.
And I think Cass was saying that we can't pay you.
Yeah.
But we really need you. And I think all of them said, that's fine. Pay us when you can.
Yeah.
Let's get it. And that's to me. And I think that's the company. I forget.
It was.
They've done a few of them, but anyway, that says a lot. Number one, it says a lot about Cass and Mike and the kind of the culture that they have, and the fact that people would say, I know, I trust you. I know we'll get paid eventually.
Yeah.
We love your idea. We're still a part of this. We're so excited to have you back. We didn't have to learn how to speak Russian. And anyway, so to kind of do that thing, but I think that goes back and says a lot to them. But that was a shit hit the fan moment.
It was,
right? Okay, because they thought they had all this money coming in, and come to find out they were getting the company back.
Yeah, and it was in a worse
and they had to basically restart it.
But they built that culture, they built that tribe mentality in, and then like to Cass's point is ultimate transparency.
Exactly.
Is had they hidden everything and said, okay, guys, your next paycheck should be here on Wednesday, and then
next year.
Yeah. And then it didn't come. And it's just like these constant excuses. That creates a lot of
oh, I can't trust you anymore.
Absolutely.
It's like to me, it's like breaking an NDA.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
You told
yeah.
me this and then you didn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I've had that happen before with dealerships that said, well, you know, we want to pay this bonus out and everybody's expecting it, but we really feel like it's too much.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, suck it up, pay the damn bonus. This
Yeah.
is what you told me you're going to do. They did exactly what you asked them to do. And now you're getting greedy on me.
100%.
Okay, don't be greedy. Do this. Trust me. This will pay off.
Yeah.
And ultimately they all do it. But in their mind, they're going like, okay, should we do it? And it's like, you know, you have an agreement.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
And they did what you asked them to do, and you told them if they did that, this would happen.
Yeah.
You can't break that trust, because
Absolutely.
the moment you do it, they're not a part of your tribe. They're gonna go look for another tribe that doesn't lie to them. And it kind of goes back to the transparency piece.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and that come, you know, with business, trust is built in silence.
Exactly.
And lost in the noise. Like I can outspeak and I can say, oh, this is going to do this and this is going to do this. But when no one's watching, when it's silent, like when my social media is not going, those are the points where trust is made or lost, right? It's, I can say whatever and I can look, I mean, let's talk about politics to an extent, right? Politicians are the best at it, right? I can sit here and say, as soon as I become president, this is going to change. This is going to change. This is going to change. And they all do it. It doesn't matter what side, they all do it. And then 90% of that shit just falls off. And so you're like, okay, well, I kind of have lost trust because you said you were going to do these. You haven't done any of it. And yeah, and that's that 100% to business is what you say in the noise has to be backed up in the silence.
Right.
And if you don't do that, then well, your people are not going to stay there when, you know, you get your business back and you can't pay them to do it, you know.
Well, and again, I think that's a big piece of it. And again, I keep referencing the Shoveling Shit book because number one, it's a great book. And if you haven't got it, get it. And if you can't get it, reach out to Brian and I. Brian,
100%.
Make sure you get it, and then go to the library and tell them to put the book on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right. Because then you can get it for free.
Oh yeah.
And it'll help them out. But again, it's just the kind of the cool thing about that book is just so full of as they say, they're cheat codes.
Yeah.
You know, this is the stuff that's going to happen. To your point, as they say, you know, shit's going to hit the fan.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a part of it. Number one, we don't know how much is going to hit.
Yeah.
And we don't know exactly when it's going to hit. Right. But we do know it will. And do I have a team of people? And it's kind of go back to your concept of the people. Do I have a team of people that will grab a scrub brush?
Yeah.
And say, we know it hit the fan and we've got 45 minutes to fix this, or we got an hour to fix it, or whatever it is. And
yeah,
I think that's the piece, but people are the key to this whole thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, and people are, I think the reality of it, people are the key, but they're also one of the biggest pains in the asses when it comes to it. I would say, like, I was talking to a business owner one day and I said, you know, what would make your business just truly a joy to work in? He goes, if I didn't have to deal with employees or customers. I said,
there you go. Let me know. I want to buy into that business.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one I want to invest in right there.
Yeah. If I can get to a point where I have a business where I don't have to deal with employees or customers, it sounds like a scam. And there's probably a prince in a faraway country that is going to give me $50 million.
Yeah, just drop ship through it.
Yeah.
So, but again, I would say again, and I've been doing this a long time, and I've got the greatest team I've ever had in my life.
Minus one. I mean,
minus one. I had one. We just didn't get along. We got along great, but unfortunately, we got along too good.
Yeah.
But I would say again, but you understand what you're looking at there, and it's it's getting the right people in place, and then teaching them how to be entrepreneur-like.
Yeah.
Okay. Because everybody on our team has the ability to make more money through bonuses, performance bonuses.
Yeah.
So I always want people to say, look, if the company's doing good, I want you to do well too.
Yeah.
I always tell this to dealers all the time. If you want to be successful as a dealership, as a business, you want to find good people, treat them well, pay them well, and they will never leave you.
Absolutely.
Okay. The key is don't get greedy.
Yeah.
You know, because high performing people can do more work than low performing people.
Yes.
They go, well, gosh, if I got this person, I'm paying this much money, it'd make more sense for me to have two people at half the price. And I go, no, it wouldn't, because they would suck.
Yeah.
You know, you got this one person here that's doing what two people can do.
Yeah.
Pay them what you would pay two people to do it, and they will never leave you.
Absolutely.
Right? So I think that's the piece of it again. Also, is you got to make sure that you're kind of building your people to be entrepreneurs. There was a book that was written by a gentleman by the name of Jack Stack. He
Barbecue?
no, but that's good barbecue.
Yeah, it is.
But he wrote a book back in the 80s called The Great Game of Business, and he
Uh-huh.
took over a failing business, and it's called Springfield Remanufacturing. They remanufacture engines for tractors
Okay.
and stuff like this. They bring them in, they take them totally apart, rebuild everything again, and they resell them as remanufactured engines.
Yeah.
Huge market for that. And anyway, and so what he did was again is to take and teach the people about the business.
Yeah.
And he to each line had its own profit and loss statement, and they were able to go through and make more money based on what they did.
Yeah.
And he turned a business that was a failing business that he took over into this super successful business. And it's because he taught his employees that working on a line, disassembling nasty ass, greasy, dirty engines, right? He taught them how to be entrepreneurs, how to read. That was part of the first thing they did, is they were taught how to read financials. But that's a part of what he did, and he really taught them how to be successful doing that. From that standpoint.
Well, and again, is empowering your people to think like entrepreneurs. That is, to me, one of the greatest success that you can have for me. I mean, as an entrepreneur, like if an employee comes to me and said, "Hey, like I have truly enjoyed doing this, but you have given me the motivation to go really start and chase my dream." Honestly, that is, to me, a massive success. And I would never discourage any. Now, well, I say that I would never discourage them if they came to me and were like, "Yeah, I've got this idea," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's needs some work." I'm not going to encourage you to do that, but I want all of my people to be super successful. I want them all to benefit and profit from what we're building, and not only my people, but also our customers. I want all of our customers to be super successful and benefit from what we're doing, and then for us to be able to give some of that back. It's
absolutely.
I'm doing it to create some of my own freedom. But at the same time, I want to do it to create freedom for my employees and my customers. And that's a huge passion of mine. I mean, but the reality of it is with that I would say is one of the biggest things that keeps me from having the burnout that I think a lot of founders experience. And we talked to Davida about it last week. Burnout, it's very hard to prevent, but if you truly have a passion for it and you've got that kind of drive, I think that it is definitely preventable. But it's
burnout. It goes back again. I think for myself personally, I've not really felt burnout in the business. I've got tired a few times. I'm like, whew, but I'm not burnout. I'm not at the point where I say, okay, I want to give this up.
Yeah.
But again, I'm passionate about it.
Yeah.
And many times the burnout starts to happen because, well, I'm not making the money I should make, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that. And I think that's kind of where the burnout happens. And the big piece again is you can't internalize failure.
Yeah.
As a part of what you're doing there.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, and again, everyone, I mean, we have, actually, if you want to pull that back up there, we have, you guys can kind of see it on our screen, but Shoveling Shit is there. This is an old podcast background, but Shoveling Shit is up on the screen. And I know Bob said it. If you haven't gotten the book, go get the book. If you can't afford the book, let us know. We can definitely get you set up with the book. I mean, it's,
I sent out probably a half a dozen over the last couple of weeks to my dealers.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I said, you got to read this book.
Yeah.
How do I get it? I go, I'm just going to send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So don't get it. I'm just going to send it to you. And I want you to read it.
Oh yeah.
Right. I mean, and everybody's going like, oh my God, this is a great book. This is a great book.
Yeah.
And I had one of them, a dealership over in Nebraska. And when she got the book, Maria got the book, she goes, oh my God, they must have been following my dealership. And I go, they were. I said, Maria, because they're having employee issues, and growth issues and stuff like this. I said, no, everybody goes through it.
Yeah.
I said, everybody goes
it would be so much fun to get Cass and Mike to go to like the Equip or go to like one of these dealer meetings, because everything that is in their book, it speaks, it it speaks to the business figuratively and literally with a lot of our agriculturals because they are actually shoveling shit, manure.
I need to do that at the Equip this year as we go back down to Kentucky. I'll get with the guy that books speakers.
Yeah.
I say, you really need to get Cass and Mike in here.
They would be.
You need to get them in here to talk. I mean, there's 30,000 people that come to these and they're landscapers and outdoor power. I mean, but they're all entrepreneurs that shovel shit all day long.
Yeah, and they would everything.
I'll make that happen.
Yeah, no, it would be great. But I mean, and like you said, I mean, you've sent out 12 in the last week.
Yeah.
I've sent out 25 of these books. I mean, I truly believe in the book. I truly feel like it does give you 50 cheat codes to entrepreneurship. So I definitely get it. But one of the things that you said, burnout. If you do everything kind of right, like burnout doesn't just, not everyone experiences it, but you have to be okay with at times hating what you're doing. I mean, and there's a lot of times that I have done a lot of things in my company that I'm like, I really hate this right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You're allowed to hate stuff. I was up until 1:30 this morning working on something and I'm like, I'm ready to go to bed. I really hate this right this second. But I woke up this morning and go, okay, I'm recharged. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Like it didn't burn me out. I just go, this sucks.
Exactly. Exactly.
But then I took a hot shower. I went to bed. Luckily, my fiance was she's been super sweet. I've been just swamped doing meetings like 12 hours a day the last couple of days, and she has let me sleep in and has made sure that the kids were fed and just has taken so much off of my load.
Your mom never does that to me. She says, get your ass up.
Yeah.
So you might want to talk to your mother about having a different attitude.
Yeah. I will do that. Unfortunately, I think that's above my pay grade.
It is.
So, but it's one of those, like, you're allowed to hate some of the tasks that you're doing. And just because you hate one of the tasks that you're doing, understand that that's not burnout, right? You're not getting burnout. You might be getting burnout on that specific task. And as an entrepreneur, as a founder, especially when you first start out, there's going to be a lot of tasks that you just go like, this is not my wheelhouse. This sucks. I really hate this. But start documenting those tasks and saying, okay, when I do have the ability to bring someone on, what position can I bring on to remove the majority percentage of those tasks that I'm not good at? Organizational skills are not my strong suit.
That's shocking to me.
Not the most organized person because my ADD, my ADHD is just, my team hates me because hey guys, I got an idea. And they're like, oh shit, what is Brian going to want to do this week? So, but I have the people, I've been blessed enough to have a group, have an incredible team behind me that can say, hey, we're going to take your ideas. We're not going to say no to them. We're just going to put them in a proper timeline.
Right.
And create that organization, which has taken a lot off of my plate. Again, onboarding a new marketing person.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing, we haven't done a whole lot of marketing for our company. Part of that's strategic, right? We want to come out and just be like, hey, we're here. Exactly. What's up? But that I did do some basic marketing, and now that's taken off my plate. And that's something that I don't truly enjoy building out marketing material. I enjoy coming up with the ideas for marketing material.
Right.
I just don't like creating the marketing schedule. So, but with that being said, it's okay to hate certain things. Document what you hate about doing in your business. Not saying you don't have to do it, but document it and then create steps to onboard someone to relieve some of that. And then that will be your burnout prevention for your whole company. I think.
Well, I agree with you. I think, again, you can't do it all. In the beginning, you have to do it all.
Absolutely.
Okay, so, I mean, that's just the reality of it. But you're going to be better at some things than you are at others. It's like me. Sales was my gift. I was blessed to be a good salesperson.
Yeah.
So I knew how to sell. And interesting enough, as a part of knowing how to sell, I also understood how to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. So it really kind of, sold, and then I went to work for a guy and was doing some training for him, and I learned to kind of improve my speaking ability over the 40 years I've been doing it, and been blessed to be around with some of the top speakers in the country. And I learned from listening to them and watching them about cadence and other things like that you have to do as a speaker. But again, there's still, but eventually for me to grow, I had to bring on people that could do other things. I was becoming more of a demand as a speaker, and it's hard as a salesperson to sell yourself as a speaker.
Yeah.
So the first thing I had to do was hire somebody, even though I was a really good salesperson. It hire somebody instead of me saying, hey, who you really need is you need Bob Clements to come in here and be your speaker. And of course I was Bob Clements. I go, well, you might just be saying that because you need to feed your family and make a house payment. So that was kind of thing. Even though I was good at what I did, I was better at this other thing, which was speaking. And I had to bring somebody in that could, number one, believed in my message and what I had there. But again, that's a piece of what you have to do. I mean, you got to bring the right people on, and as you do it, it's a strategic. And I've in 40 years, I made a lot of bad hires in 40 years. I'm very good at hiring today. Hire slow, fire fast.
Absolutely.
Okay. So take your time in hiring, but the moment you've got a bad hire, they're not going to change. Okay. Get rid of them, move on, and go look again for somebody. I always tell people, just because you had a bad meal doesn't mean that you stop eating. You just simply go to another restaurant. And I think that's the thing. And people say, well, I've hired people and they all suck. And it's like, well, okay, you still eat. If you have a bad meal, you keep eating. Right? So go do it. It's just a matter of finding the right person to go and understanding, again, you're hiring for culture first, and then everything else kind of comes into play with it. But that's going to keep you from burning out.
And I would say with the right hires, right, things get a lot simpler, but sometimes, and I think of the dealer that we used to work with, the Walking Hurricane.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
He was always like, oh, my employees suck. My employees suck. No, your management skills suck.
You suck.
And that's one of those, you need to hire someone to manage it. And there's some businesses that we worked with where it's like, okay, you need to be a silent owner, absentee owner.
Yeah, absolutely. I've told that to a couple of owners before.
And there's a lot of founders out there. I will say there's a lot of founders out there and a lot of people that I've talked to that you are not a great manager, right? And I will say that I can manage people decently. My skill is networking. I can network with the best of them. But I'm not the best at managing people because my mind is like, I'll have a conversation with someone and I've gone 72 different places in my head in the time that we've had 3 words of conversation. And I realized that was not my strength. And so I brought someone onto my team to manage my team. I can focus on what I'm really good at. I can focus on why I started this business, where I want this business to go. I hand it to one person. He hands it out to the rest of the team and can manage that. I knew what I did not know, and I found someone who could fill in for that. And I think that as a founder, if you want to get past the shoveling shit on your own as a founder, is building the right team behind that, because that takes all of the ugly shit that they don't tell you and makes it a lot easier to do.
It does, and again, I think about it, you're saying that because your mom and I started the business together. Your mom was a marketing person. That's what she studied in college. She's phenomenal with people. Okay. And I was a really good salesperson, and so I would tell people, again, if you're starting a business, you have a spouse, significant other, somebody else, right? That, maybe lean them into the business a little bit. They probably have some skill sets that are different than yours, and that's okay. Because again, Sandy your mom is much better managing people than I am. I can manage people, but I don't enjoy it. It's like, Jesus, this is not that complicated. Just figure it out, move forward. I got another call I can over here, where Sandy takes the time and develops and hires the right people and does all things like that. So, I mean, I would say, again, if you're looking at starting a business and you have a spouse, significant other, somebody else there that can come in beside you that has a different skill set than you, that may, and they don't need to do it full time. Because, your mom was raising a family and doing all this stuff while she was doing this other stuff in the business. So that's another option there. But I think, again, to your point, part of the reason that, well, I know a big reason that I'm successful is because I had somebody beside me, kind of like Mike and Cass has, somebody beside me that could do a part of it really well that I could do, but I couldn't do really well.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't my passion. And that's also kept me from burning out.
Yeah. Well, you've got to have that. I mean, I don't say you have to have that, right? But
No.
it makes it a lot easier. And it's moving into that kind of, you have to believe in yourself, right? First, before anybody else believes in you.
Right.
Having someone that comes alongside you who says, hey, I believe in what you're doing. I think that you're doing a great job of it. That's great. It helps relieve a lot of the self-doubt that comes along with being an entrepreneur, but it never disappears. I would say self-doubt never disappears. I know that you've been in business for 40 plus years, and there's times where you probably made a decision in the last 10 years, 5 years of it, and you go, well, shit, was that
yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Okay. You're constantly doing. I mean, like I say, but it's not paralyzing anymore.
Yeah.
I've made enough good decisions to know that if it's not a good decision, I'm smart enough, and I'm going to go back to Cass and Mike. I pivot quickly.
Yes.
The moment I know it's a stupid ass idea,
yeah,
I'm not going to spend any money on. And I, this goes back again. When Cass and Mike was on there, if I had all the money that I'd spent on bad ideas,
yeah,
I could have retired 30 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's how you learn, and again, I'm going to go back to Cass and Mike, and I don't mean to keep plugging them, but I really do, because I think they're, number one, they're two awesome people, and I love their book. But again, I think that whole concept of pivoting quickly, that's really the key to it. And as you pivot quickly, I think, again, this goes back to our podcast last week. Then you won't burn out. If you keep running into a freaking wall over and over again, right? It hurts after a while. You go like, this really sucks. And I think, ultimately you have to go, well, damn, there's a door. Maybe I should try that.
Yeah.
Or there's a window, and I think that's the thing is you just can't keep running into the same wall.
Yeah.
You got to pivot, and that's going to eliminate a lot of burnout opportunities.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs, as long as you can get out of your own way, understand that you have to pivot. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I run into a wall. The first thing that I think is like, well, I'm going to start a demolition company. Right.
Yeah.
And I come up like everything that happens in my business is, I see it as tiny little businesses, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, this came up. This is an issue. I'm going to start a demolition company. Let's get through this barrier. Here's how I'm going to do it. And it's how my mind works. I create little companies inside of my one company to get rid of all of those issues that I run into. And it's like, okay, we have a funding issue. Okay, perfect. I'm now going to become a banker. Like, let's open up our own bank. And so I put that hat on and I moved there. And that's just how my mind works. Like I have to see everything as like this tiny little business.
Yeah. But I would say again, and that becomes a little bit of a huge energy burn.
Yeah.
Where you say, hey, I have a funding issue. I need to find people that are really good at raising funds.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you go, well, I'm going to have to pay them something. Well, welcome to the capitalism. Okay.
Yes.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, again, the challenge many times is again, to your point, I need now to start a demolition company. And I would say, no, there's people out there that do demolition.
Yeah.
Let's just hire them.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you keep focused on this.
Yeah.
You keep driving the software forward. You keep doing this. I mean, you're a great salesperson. You're a great connector. And when you're spending time demoing, you're not spending time doing on the things that are really going to drive your company forward. And I think that's the thing, is don't be afraid to leverage. And this really kind of goes back to what we've talked about. I don't know how many episodes we've done now, but we kind of talked about it from the beginning, is you've got to find seasoned entrepreneurs that would love to help you. And if you had somebody that you're around, you say, hey, I'm trying to raise funds for this. You got any thoughts on this? And they go, well, tell me more about it.
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
Because they may say, I don't, but I tell you who you need to talk to, and let me connect you with them.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to what Drew talks about, with connect the dots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really leaning into that. So, don't get so focused on, well, now I got to do this.
Yeah.
Get focused on, I'm really good at this. I need to find somebody, reach out to somebody, connect with somebody that can help me do this.
Absolutely.
And I tell people, they say, well, it's going to cost me money. I was like, well, probably. I mean, that's how capitalism works.
Yeah.
Unless you're in New York, and then everything is free.
Yeah.
But in the real world that we all play in, that's how it works. And again, there's lots of different ways you can compensate people. You can give them stock options. I mean, there's tons of different ways you can do things. So you may say, I don't have the money to do it. And I said, well, be creative. There's lots of things you can do there. So anyway.
And don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to try. I mean, not to necessarily name drop, but I sent email after email after email to different people. And then I said, screw it, I'm going to send an email to Mark Cuban. I could have been like, oh, there's no way Mark Cuban is going to respond, but guess who freaking responds? It was Mark Cuban. And so it's like, if you put that self-doubt and say, okay, this person's not going to respond to me.
How do you know?
What's it hurt? What's the worst thing that happens is that he doesn't respond to you? Or what's the best thing that happens at 9:48 at night on a Thursday night? I'm sitting on the couch working on my computer and a freaking email pops through and it's Mark Cuban. And I'm like, holy shit.
That's cool.
That's cool. So,
and again, I mean, that's the piece,
Yeah.
The other thing is you can't be afraid to respond at 9:30 because that's a test.
Oh,
in their world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it was one of those, okay. And the response will happen in as quick as I can put a response.
3 seconds.
Yes. So, but with that, again, everybody, there's so many things that you don't see on social media that go into being an entrepreneur. So if you're experiencing things that you don't see on social media, you're not alone. What you see on social media is not the truth.
It's BS.
Yeah, it is not the truth. You are not alone.
They only show you the person in the skinny jeans.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I'm not a person that's in skinny jeans.
Yes, yeah. So just understand you're not alone in the shoveling of shit.
Right.
If you feel like you're alone, even after this episode, I could probably send you 1,000 different businesses who would go, no, you're not alone. And again, I want to bring back up one more time, Shoveling Shit with Mike by Cass and Mike. Go get it today. Send us a message today that you want it. We will make sure you get it.
Absolutely.
Because I truly believe in what they have to sell or what they have to say in their book. It's not for them. They didn't write the book for the money. They wrote the book because they
were already okay financially.
Yeah. I think they're doing okay. But they wrote it because they want to help entrepreneurs. Right. It's like your books that you have written. You didn't write them to become New York Times bestselling author. Right. Is you saw a struggle. DeVita did the same thing with burnout. They saw a struggle. They saw that there is an opportunity to help someone. And the best way they could do that was to put their thoughts and their experiences onto paper so that it could reach as many people as possible. So again, we are here to help. If you guys have questions, if you have current concerns, if you have comments, we would love to hear all of them. And I definitely next week, I do want to talk about a couple of your books, because I think with not only in selling a product, but selling yourself, I want to talk about kind of the 8 greatest sales secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about that next week, because as we're kind of building up, we have a really, really incredible guest that's coming on. He had to build his own personal brand in one of the most extreme ways possible.
Does he happen to ride crazy animals?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You are not going to want to miss this.
He happens to be a bull rider, but I want to
and not just a bull rider. How famous is he?
He's done okay. He's done okay. I don't want to throw it out there because I have some really cool teaser content that's coming out for us.
It's going to be great.
But he had to sell himself. He had to sell who he was. He did it by putting his body on the line. Most entrepreneurs,
just like me.
Yeah. Most entrepreneurs don't have to go to that extreme.
Right.
But I do want to talk about, say, what does it take to sell something? Yeah. What does it take as a startup founder? You go into a bank and go, I need capital. And they go, ha, ha, ha. And say, let me tell you who I am. I'm talking to an investor. Let me sell myself. Because that's what they're buying. They're not buying your product at that point. Investors, funders, venture capitalists. They're not buying your product. They're buying you.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Like, because I always tell people again, people buy people, not products and services.
Absolutely.
And if you suck as a person, you're going to suck as a product.
Yeah.
Right. So the first thing you have to do to be successful is to make sure that you're a good product.
Yes.
Right. You look right, you talk right, you act right. And that's going to at least get the door open for you. So I'm excited about that. That'll be a lot of fun.
No, I'm super excited. So, but with that, we are over on our time limit.
Do we care?
Nope. Absolutely not. I do not care one bit. But with that, we appreciate everyone who has watched, everyone who's been on here. Make sure that you check out all of our pages, our Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, all of the pages, because I do post different content on all of the different pages. So if you follow one of the pages, there's a chance that you're actually missing out on some of the other fun content.
My key ideas and concepts.
Yeah, those actually just go onto a storage drive and,
let's go to my website.
Yeah. The
great,
emails,
great ideas from Bob.
The emails got deleted somehow. I don't know how that happened. So, but with that, we're going to unplug for the night. We appreciate all of you. And we will catch you guys next week here on Unplugged, Unfiltered. Bob, thank you.
Great. Thanks, Brian.
We'll talk to you next week.
Never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Wait until they see us now. Waiting for the opportune time to show them this new power of mine. Wailing Woods, where we landed. We're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Greasy Grove will soon be upon us. Katie Hike, we're sitting on the battle bus. We're closing in and we'll soon claim victory. Wailing Woods, where we landed. We're 2 rows and next to be commended. We're taking down all of those who oppose. Our aim never disappoint, so we have coincidentally stumbled on a legendary. Waiting